Stuff and things. Today, boys and girls, we are talking about cryptocurrency and Donald Trump. See, Donald Trump somehow got elected president, and as a result, crypto bros are mooning. To give more detail, this person will tell you more.
What about aliens?
Aliens? That's another cast.
Or UFO?
Another cast. But I do like the UFO news that they had, that the military is starting to say, okay, maybe there's things we don't know about, but we haven't been telling you because we don't want the Russians to think that there's secret craft or something that we can't track.
They came out in the hearings and said that they routinely go into the ocean. There's bases in the ocean.
Well, no.
Oh, who say that?
This is what gets me about this stuff. What those hearings basically made clear was there's things that the military doesn't know about that can like pulse like 3,000 Gs. No, they don't know about bases. In fact, some of the military people were asked questions like, well, do you think that these are biological spacecraft or you know, specific? And then they get really specific, like what the aliens look like. And they're like, we don't know. They just go fast and they pull lots of Gs. They're like, I can't speculate on whether there's aliens doing it or whether it's a plant that can go 3,000 Gs or not. So that's what. No, we don't know anything about bases. We just know that they must go into the ocean, I guess.
Exactly.
Or why else would they go into the ocean? Swim?
They can. And
maybe they're collecting water.
Well, I think the thought is the pseudo-scientific thought is that as far as we know, unless you can go like light speed, you can't pull 3,000 Gs in an atmosphere with like setting it on fire. So they think that the thought is maybe they can like phase in and out of this dimension, which would make them appear to go faster. If that's the case, then we really have no clue as to how they work. And we're not going to know anytime soon. Like for 1,000 years, maybe.
That's a whole show in itself because those were fascinating. I was watching the clips on X of the testimony, and the guy testified that they communicated indirectly with these alien craft. And the congressman goes, well, what does exactly that mean? And he goes, well, we haven't talked to them. We have not like
we
physically
got out of the
talked
way
to
when
them.
They flew at us. That's the
no, but he said, let me give you an analogy. If the Russians send their planes over Alaska, we scramble our jets and they interact in the air. He said, so they've reacted to us and we've reacted to them. So that's what I mean by communication.
Reacted. So they turn left and they make the other thing turn. Okay.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty fascinating. I was like, wow. There's a lot. I mean, if we did a show on that, there's so many clips that can just be directly pulled from the testimony that are just mind-boggling.
Well,
if you haven't looked it up on X, do it.
I'm not against shows about these kind of subjects. What I'm against is when people take things further and speculate. Well, okay, you can even speculate, but you've got to couch it as speculation. Like, I think there's bases under the ocean. And then that's different than they're going to a base. That's just my way. I want to make sure that it's clear. We don't really know, and they don't really know.
That's what people were writing. I didn't see actual clips on that though, but people were saying, holy shit, they just said that these craft are entering the ocean and there's bases. So
if
I'm guessing
if these things can actually move through different dimensions, then that would mean, I mean, if you can move that fast through the air, you could probably move that fast through the water. You're probably not completely phased into this reality. So their base could have been underwater for the past 10,000 years, but on a different in a different dimension.
You got me all excited before the show when you were talking about that stuff in our private chat there, about the you posted the article about the woman who was talking about the past civilizations and stuff.
Oh, that was Zorro that did that.
Oh, Zorro did, yeah. So I've been big into that the last 3 or 4 months. I've been watching all of these podcasts. Graham Hancock and what's his name? God, I put the guy's name in there. I just watched him the other day, and they make compelling cases for this, and it's fascinating stuff. And there's some like wild fringe weirdo stuff, but there's a lot of evidence. They keep digging deeper, and the deeper they dig, they're finding older and older stuff that's like advanced.
So so something that I think people don't really realize that much is I think I've talked about the Antikythera mechanism. We had a computer, humans had a computer like 1,000 to 2,000 years ago, but not like the computers we had, but they were sophisticated far beyond clocks. So it might be that the Earth went through a number of technological periods that then got wiped out through whatever. I mean, all you need is an apocalypse, and then all that knowledge is gone.
That's the guy, Randall Carlson.
But
this guy's been on the Sean Ryan show, JRE,
but I have a problem
Danny
when
Jones.
I have a problem when people start speculating or putting pieces together about past technologies that they can't actually show you, and have archaeologists that say, yeah, we've been looking at this, for quite a while.
And there goes the argument, because that was the JRE podcast that we talked about on that one show where you and I got butthurt, where it was Flint Dibble, who was the archaeologist.
What?
Yeah. Flint Dibble is his name. He's kind of goofy, but it's just like what was being said about the other stuff, about the physics that we argued about, in that archaeologists have tunnel vision, and these people are super smart, and they're finding things. Graham Hancock, he did ancient archaeology on TV, and he just went through a lawsuit. The History Channel tried to get him removed as a documentary and instead just put it as entertainment, and it was shot down because this guy's really good. And
okay, wait.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
You make a lot of points, but everything after the word because is the problem I'm having. And remember, the FAS standard is to have evidence of some sort, and that evidence has to be reproducible in some way. And now it is possible to have evidence of superhuman abilities, like shoot webs out of your wrists. Just consult an issue of The Amazing Spider-Man, and you'll have evidence that some humans can do that. But that's not reproducible. So if it meets the FAS standard, I'm all for it. But until then, I'm happy to talk about it in speculation. It's just we can't say that it's true because it's not reproducible.
I haven't said anything is true.
Just making sure that when we do, when you start talking about things that archaeologists know and stuff like that, we need to see the information. That's all. There's the Antikythera mechanism, which we dug up, we pulled off the bottom of the Aegean Sea or something back in 1900. Stayed nobody knew about what the hell it was until 15 years ago, and then we had enough X-ray ability to actually rebuild what it was and stuff like that. That's what I mean by reproducible. We're able to X-ray it and then build one of our own exactly like what we found, and then saw how it worked, because the one we found didn't work and it's too poor of a shape to work. So that's the kind of stuff that I like to see, is how can we reproduce anything that we find.
We're gonna get to The crypto moon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. Speaking of
The flat crypto
reproducibility,
moon.
crypto is you can very easily reproduce what's going on with crypto right now by looking at the blockchains. Crypto is mooning thanks to Trump, apparently, who just 4 or 5 years ago was totally against Bitcoin. He literally had a press conference to say Bitcoin is nothing but thin air, or based on nothing but thin air, and to presumably scare people off and stay in the dollar. And now he's all about crypto. Since then, he sold his own NFTs. He has his own coin. And so there might be some self-servingness in there.
I don't know about self-servingness. Testing it out, playing with it. You do the same thing. I do the same things. I'm sure Zorro does the same thing.
I get a sense that Trump is doing more than testing out and playing. He's made quite a bit of money in crypto, especially with his NFTs. So I don't know. He's still selling his NFTs, by the way. So anything he does in crypto will make his NFTs.
No, well, it depends.
That's right.
I mean,
he could be for regulations that are against NFTs, but figure the odds.
Well, no. This whole thing is because, in my opinion, the economy has a chance for being fixed right now, and it gave people confidence to put their money into any investment, whether it's the stock market, whether it's crypto, whether it's annuities, anything.
I don't think people are going to have the confidence yet to put it in crypto, because crypto is still, in my opinion, way too new. You can't just use your credit card to buy something with crypto right now. Most people don't know how to get a crypto account. And that's kind of why we started FazRadio, is to talk about it. And there hasn't been a lot of movement in the last 4 years.
$22 billion entered Bitcoin and crypto in the last 10 days. That's a lot of money.
And it's going to, in my opinion, it's going to keep going because they've just started. You're getting this much money based upon them saying, we want crypto and we're in charge. Just wait until every time they do something, every time a new regulation comes out or a new person is appointed, it's going to go up more and more.
I think it's because of the economy. I think people have faith in the economy again, and they're willing to take the money they had pulled aside and or tucked into a CD or anything else and invest it in something.
No. I don't think my grandma, who's dead right now, I don't think your grandma, who might be alive, has all of a sudden gone since the election, oh my God, I think I'm going to put money in crypto. No, all the people who are making money in crypto right now are the people that have been in crypto. I'm still waiting to see a TV commercial or a YouTube commercial going, hey, our bank accounts now feature a special Bitcoin crypto account. When you open it, you'll get 0.000001 Bitcoin. Get one today. That's like $35.
Listen,
but that will happen.
Crypto, there's a difference between crypto and Bitcoin. And people aren't going to put serious money into anything but Bitcoin, because nations, governments, institutions, none of those are going to put money into crypto, some stupid token, and they're definitely not going to put them in meme tokens. You're going to see governments and institutions and businesses like Sailor's business, they're going to be putting their money in Bitcoin. And because Bitcoin drives pretty much everything with the entire market, that's where you're going to see this other stuff moving along behind it. But the value for your money, your serious money, your quote, real money, is going to be in Bitcoin. And you're going to be able to just make money with the other stuff. That's my thought.
So the things that have been going up, if I check my Robinhood here, my Robinhood is my little speculation thing. It's where I put my pocket
of
change.
Course. Johnny Regulation uses a sex.
Okay.
Uniswap
Anyway,
for the win.
Sounds like you're looking for some drama. So what I see here is Doge has gone up quite a lot. Let's see. Let's look in the last month. 269% with Doge. Bitcoin has not done that in the last month. It's only gone up 35%. So tell me again what people are looking for.
You know why Doge went up, right?
Well, duh. Because of the Department of what's that? Department of something.
Ganglion epiphanies.
Government efficiency.
Government efficiency.
So apparently, Elon. So okay, come on, guys. You don't name a committee or whatever the fuck that is. Department of Government Efficiency. If you don't want Doge people to look at it, so of course Doge people are lumping into that. What gets me though is that this is now a government kind of thing. This is the government kind of saying, hey, we like Doge so much, we're going to name something after Doge. Yeah, it's going to make a lot more money.
I don't think that's why they named it that.
It has been.
It's just a coincidence.
Yeah. So they named it that just because. Okay. What a coincidence.
Total coincidence. Yes.
Total coincidence.
You've chalked up so many things over the last 3 years to coincidence, so I don't want to hear it.
Oh, this is in your face, and everything about the Trump administration and crypto is so in your face. It's not funny. They're telling you they want crypto. They're telling you all of these things. When I talk about coincidences, we're talking about, like, I don't know, physics or scientific theories or something like that. We're not talking about, the U.S. government saying on its face, we're going to invest more in crypto. We want to bring crypto in the United States. By the way, what do you think of that? About Trump saying that he wants to bring Bitcoin in, all Bitcoin mining in the United States. Do you like that idea?
Well, he can't do that. First of all, no one is going to pack up their stuff and move over here.
He's a powerful guy now. He can say whatever he wants.
And it's irrelevant, completely irrelevant.
He can do
where
it.
Bitcoin is mined.
He can do it. He said he could do it.
I don't think he did.
He's going to make it all American made. Bitcoin's going to be made in America, he said.
He wants that, yeah, but he doesn't obviously understand Bitcoin very well. Okay,
so if he doesn't understand, and this is the dichotomy that I wanted to talk about in this cast. So if Trump doesn't understand what Bitcoin is, but wears it on his sleeve that he's all for Bitcoin, what do you think is really going to happen with Bitcoin?
Does he really need to understand how Bitcoin works, or the people that is going to be working for him taking care of that?
Well, I guess that's the question.
Presidents have all his staff for that. So I'm pretty sure he's going to have all the people behind him, experts on Bitcoin or whatever token.
Shouldn't he understand the if you are the leader of a country, should you at least understand the concept of what you're going for? So make me the president for a minute, okay? And I say I'm going to keep this country safe by invading country X. And you might say, well, you really don't understand the geopolitical realities and that. And I'm going to say, you know what? I got people. Okay. And my people are probably going to tell me that this is complicated. So I'll probably be able to understand at some level, like you said, okay, country X might be good to invade or might be bad to invade for whatever reason. Now, if you're talking about a new banking system and you don't understand how that works and you want to throw out the existing one with which you're going to replace with what you would think as a question mark, that's a big deal. That means you don't know what you're talking about. That's the very definition of the sentence. You don't know what you're talking about. Why would you trust that more than somebody who knows what they're talking about?
Well, let me correct myself. Probably he knows the basic as far Bitcoin, but going deep and how it works and what he can do about it. Obviously, he have to have good people behind him to explain
Well,
Bitcoin to him and do
he's
whatever he
demonstrated.
can say.
He's demonstrated he doesn't know about it. If he wants to bring it all in this country, all mining in this country, he's demonstrating. That sentence alone says he doesn't understand. Now, what's going to happen? What purportedly what you're going to say is, well, he has people that would explain to him that what he just said is contradictory. So is he going to take it back? No. He won't take it back. He won't be like, oh, my bad. Okay, we can't do all Bitcoin in this country. No, he's just going to do it anyway.
That's his way.
I do think, how do I want to phrase this so that I don't start an argument? I do think that he understands the concept, but doesn't realize what it really means. I think he still thinks it's like fake money. I don't think he understands the power of what Bitcoin really is. And once he does, if he does, I think he'll take the opportunity to use that to his advantage. And I'm not sure he will ever truly understand why Bitcoin is Bitcoin.
I think once he understands what Bitcoin really is, he's going to realize that he can't control it. And what's worse is, I think the US government has actually understood what Bitcoin is for the last 10, 15 years. And they don't like it because they can't control it. That's the thing. If you embrace Bitcoin, what you're actually saying is, I don't want to manage this. I don't want to manage this monetary system. That is the antithesis of what the United States does currently, and it's the antithesis, in my opinion, of what Trump wants. He is going to, I think he thinks if he can bring all mining in the United States that he has an ability to manage it. Also, he has promised a Bitcoin strategic reserve. So the idea behind that is to bank 1 million Bitcoin somewhere, on the blockchain by the United States. That means I think he's interested in retaining the value and or being able to affect the price. And if you can affect the price of Bitcoin, that means you can control it to some degree. So that what I'm seeing so far says to me that this will blow up in his face in a way that personally I will like. But I don't think he will, and I don't think a lot of people in the United States will like, personally.
Cynthia Loomis put forward a bill already to have Congress approve buying 1 million Bitcoin over the next 4 years for the United States government.
I believe it wasn't buying as much as they seize Bitcoin for illegal things. I think they'll just retain it and they won't sell it. I think that's what it actually says, if I'm not mistaken.
I didn't read the bill. I saw the post that she made about it. And I think it's a really good idea.
Yeah, I agree, actually.
But there's I'm not sure. I don't want to fight with you. But if I say what but I'm trying to phrase it. No, I'm trying to phrase it.
I will double that if we argue.
Listen, I am trying to be not causing problems here. But I don't think you understand Bitcoin as much as you think you do, Faz. You cannot control the price of Bitcoin. The government can't control the price of Bitcoin. Michael Saylor owns the most Bitcoin outside of Satoshi at the moment, and he does not control the price of Bitcoin. So the U.S. government, and nobody can control the price of Bitcoin. So the U.S. government is absolutely not going to control the price of Bitcoin.
I think
It's just not going to happen.
I think he thinks. I didn't say that. Okay, I think he thinks he can control it, and that's why I said I think the United States under Trump wanting to buy this stuff gives him the thought where he has an aspect of control. Now, it is worth mentioning, and it is worth mentioning that if you are a whale, you can affect the price of a coin, especially if you tie it to news. So if something happens your way, and I don't know, let's just say, I don't know, Charles Hoskinson being an advisor on the Trump administration, that could theoretically make the price of Cardano go up.
Yes, but that's what I'm trying to separate with you. That, and maybe that's where the miscommunication, where it's not getting through. For tokens like Cardano or Stellar or XRP, it absolutely can affect the price. With Bitcoin, it can't.
Okay, so wait. So you're making a distinction. You're saying that Cardano and Bitcoin are not, that Cardano's a token and Bitcoin's not a token.
Bitcoin is a coin, not a token.
Well, Cardano's a coin as well. It's not a token.
Uh,
The reasoning for calling Cardano a token. What's a token?
So a token is something that is created and administered by a entity or a person. A coin is something that is sufficiently decentralized where it is not controlled by a company or a person. There's nobody to sue.
So
that's the difference.
Okay, so that would sound like you would think that really there's Litecoin is just like Bitcoin. It's the fork of Bitcoin. Is that a token?
It is.
Really? It's not administered by a group of people and there's no one to sue.
Yeah, there kind of is. That, like, Litecoin is a mix between the two right now, because the Litecoin Foundation, there's a foundation that administers it. It's not like Bitcoin where there's, the core developers. There's an actual foundation that administers Litecoin. So I would lean it more towards a token than a coin. If I was in charge, the Department of Coin Management, DOCM, if I was that guy, I would classify it more as a token than a coin.
Okay, I'm not aware of Litecoin having a foundation that administers it. So Bitcoin and Litecoin both have a foundation, but they deal with development and promotion and stuff like that. Bitcoin has the Bitcoin Core Group, for example, which develops. Now, the neat thing about Bitcoin is if you execute every member of the Bitcoin Core Group, somebody else can just fork Bitcoin, and then the world will accept whatever they think is the true Bitcoin. Probably one where the developers aren't dead. A lot of Bitcoin forks are like that. They fork it and they say, well, we just want it this way. We fork it and then they let it go. A number of coins have followed Bitcoin's strategy. There's not really somebody to sue. If you were to shut down IOHK, which is the entity that Cardano uses to do similar things as a Bitcoin Foundation, the Litecoin Foundation, that coin's not going anywhere. The contracts are all made. You're still going to get money for staking. You can't shut it down. So I would say maybe fix what you're saying. A token is something that you can shut down.
That's tough. That's why I'm using the basic tenet of there's somebody to sue for that.
You can
And
sue,
while
you can sue the Bitcoin core team. You could sue them, and they would stop developing for Bitcoin, but Bitcoin would stay. That's the thing.
well, there has to be that consensus there to make any changes. So if they were eliminated, basically Bitcoin would never be able to be changed unless those secure keys were handed out to a new team. And that team then would have the ability to make those changes. It could go on in perpetuity, obviously.
If you make, and the same thing with Cardano, if you were to get rid of the team who could make those changes, Cardano would just be forked, another team could spring up. And it's the whole whack-a-mole aspect of that's what makes a coin decentralized. If you look up Cardano online, you'll see that it is considered decentralized because it has those same aspects about it that Bitcoin has. And in fact, even Ethereum is decentralized, even though that there's an Ethereum foundation that sets the standard. But even Ethereum is decentralized because if you were to remove that core team, Ethereum's not going away. Those contracts are there. It's still going to work. And that's all you need. So I'm curious why you're using the word coin and token. That sounds like a different word than everybody else is using. Like you redefined the word. Is there
no? We did a cast on this, and we defined coin and token the exact same way in that cast, and we were both in agreement on that. I don't know where you've changed on that.
I've thought of if I said that, if I said that there was somebody to sue and that's what makes a token, fine, that still fits. But I couldn't call Cardano or Litecoin a token because you could sue somebody, but it won't shut down the coin. And the same thing with Bitcoin. You could sue the Bitcoin Foundation, but you won't shut down the coin.
So maybe with the evolution of things, it's the influence perhaps that you have to look at a little bit tighter, because Vitalik, our buddy over there at ETH, right? He's the one who changed it, led the charge to change it to the proof of stake network. And if Vitalik goes away, Ethereum can continue. But do you think it remains as valuable as it is without Vitalik there? Do you think Cardano remains as valuable if Hoskinson ups and leaves?
Do you think
there's a big difference because Satoshi left and all it did was go up?
Okay, so I get what you're saying, where you're saying that because they have a figurehead, people are interested in the coin.
The network's gonna do what that person wants it to do. That's a big thing, big difference.
And Bitcoin would have also, if he were in charge of, there is a social aspect about it, and then there's a real technical aspect of it. The technical aspect is, can you shut down the coin? Yes, then it's a token. But by your definition, can you shut down the coin? No. Then it doesn't matter who you sue. Technically speaking, can you shut down the coin? No, you can't. Okay, you can't shut down Cardano, you can't shut down Litecoin, you can't shut down Bitcoin. They are all coins, and they will operate whether their people die or not. Now, it just so happens that Satoshi left immediately because that was a smart thing to do, because he would get sued. They would go after him, and they would use the social aspect of going after him to, imagine the federal government found Satoshi, and imagine that they sued him, and imagine they put him in prison. Well, actually, now he'd just be a martyr. So Charles Hoskinson could become a martyr instead of bad, because you still have a technically good working coin with Cardano. You can't stop it. It's there. It's highly, highly decentralized.
Didn't Hoskinson do something before Cardano?
Yes, he did.
I could have sworn he
Ethereum.
Yeah,
Work with
I was. A lot of these major chains like that have had people who, for whatever reason, split off and do other things. There was that guy from XRP who did Stellar, isn't it?
Jed McCaleb.
Yeah, that was him. Good old Uncle Jed.
And thanks. So what's interesting about Stellar versus XRP is Jed McCaleb, Arthur Brito, and forgot who Joel Katz is, somebody Schwartz. They made this coin, and then themselves, and then they gifted it to another company, to a company, which actually seems to be a very smart move because the company could say, "Hey, we didn't make this; we're just using it." Jed McCaleb was one of them. And then whatever Ripple did with the coin, Jed McCaleb didn't like. And this is the great thing about decentralization, is Jed McCaleb said, okay, I don't like this. And then he took the concept, and as far as I understand, he rewrote XRP in a clean room reimplementation, which meant he didn't fork it. He actually just reimplemented what XRP did, and then made his own coin. With kind of him in charge. I don't know very much about how decentralized Stellar is. I would assume it probably is. But it turns out that having figureheads gets a lot of these coins distributed. Satoshi, for what it's worth, has become a figurehead, not by his own doing, but by other people's doing. Charles Hoskinson and Vitalik have become figureheads by their doing. It doesn't matter how you become one. You have a person behind the coin that you could print on the face of the coin, people are going to get the coin. It could be me. It could be you on the coin, and they like the way you look.
Yes, I need to be the spokesperson for a really cool
It could be a dog on a coin as the coin's mascot, and people would get that coin. In fact, this coin could be a literal fucking joke, and people would buy it. So it doesn't matter if Charles Hoskinson, by the way, Doge is decentralized as well. Charles Hoskinson could do something stupid. He could say that it's been a joke all this time. It would be just as popular. It might even get more popular.
It might. Demology here is saying that Hoskinson left Cardano, and now he's more of a spokesperson.
Yeah, I think he probably figured that he didn't want to be associated with it, so he wouldn't get sued. I mean, it's a wise idea.
So I was talking in the crypto channel on FazRadio Discord, and I think that that's a really good point that needs to be brought up when it comes to this stuff. In that these tokens and projects that come to the U.S. under Trump and his let's make US the crypto home, that is really kind of incentivizing centralization. And maybe the conspiracy theorist comes out in me constantly with that's the way they're going to lure these crypto projects into remaining centralized, is to give them the benefit of having this safe place to be, as long as you play by our rules, which will centralize the shit out of everything and force them to dox into the centralized exchanges, and then it'll give them more power to regulate those centralized exchanges. I think that's a really bad idea for crypto. But people, I think, who don't think that through are going to say, hey, that's a great idea. Let's go start a coin or a token here in the US.
What I like about the concept of Bitcoin is I believe that Satoshi, I think he even wrote this, Satoshi took all that into account. He wanted to put something out there. He realized that if somebody controlled it, that person would be gone after, and then the coin would be shut down. So he basically made a viral coin, and the coin supports itself. And where was I going with this?
We're all waiting to find out.
Austin.
Yes.
It was influence, right? What?
Yes, that one.
So about decentralization. So we were talking about this on the Discord, the FazRadio Discord, a little bit recently, where if Trump were to be able to get all the mining of Bitcoin in the United States, which we know he can't, but if he did, then he's effectively killed the coin. I mean, he's made it centralized, he's made it run by the United States, and then nobody else could do it. What would happen, of course, the killer app of this, the feature of Bitcoin that everybody likes is once he got Bitcoin corralled to the United States, people would just fork it. And then it would be called the it'd be called Bitcoin, and then the other one would be called the US Bitcoin, and then the fork would be the Bitcoin. You can't control people's minds. So
Yes.
he can't. It's not even something he can lock down.
You can't contain Bitcoin mining to the United States. It's impossible.
Again, it doesn't matter. I'm saying even if it was, the whole point, the whole design of Bitcoin is the forking ability.
You don't need to fork it.
Ability. What?
You don't need to fork it. If Trump says everybody has to mine in the US, people all over the world are going to go buy some old S19 miners and they're going to fire them up anyway.
I agree with that.
You physically cannot limit where Bitcoin is mined.
We don't disagree, but what I'm trying to tell you is that even if you could, it doesn't matter because the forking ability is the killer.
Now I understand what you're saying. I thought you were saying he could do that. I'm like, you can't.
No
all
way.
You got to do is go buy an S19 miner.
Because there's all these people in the world right now that have the software on their computer anyway, and the thing talks amongst itself. That what he could do is he could make the Great Firewall of the United States, preventing any Bitcoin transactions from updating any miners outside of the United States.
He can't do that. That has to be done by Core.
Okay, wait a minute. Yes, he can, because Bitcoin transmits its information over the internet. Okay, so if you had a Bitcoin miner at your home right now, and you were to unplug it from the network, it's not going to be able to update. It's not going to be able to share its blockchain updates with the world, and the world would not be updated with your information until you plugged it back in. And so if Trump was able to stop all miners in the United States from communicating outside through a firewall, you could theoretically do it. What would happen then is Bitcoin would continue to live outside of there, and it would continue to live inside the United States. They would not be synced up. And then again, it doesn't matter. Bitcoin hasn't been killed. It still exists outside the United States. And then once the firewall is brought down, then they'd start synchronizing again. So he'd have to leave it up forever. You cannot stop that forever, and he can't. And he would be effectively hard forking it if he was able to stop all communication ever, which is again not Bitcoin anymore. Bitcoin is the gestalt; it's not the individual.
Probably this. No single entity or individual obviously can fully control the price of Bitcoin. Obviously, because Bitcoin, it operates in a decentralized blockchain network, right? We know that. People that know Bitcoin knows that. However, certain factors, and I think probably that's what this country or Trump would like to do, is control the crypto market by having by having the most obviously quantity of Bitcoin, probably. So then comes probably market manipulation and wells doing movements in the market, and probably that's what they want, the US to control the market.
Yeah, I think they do.
The crypto market. And I think by him saying that is in the long run is the US controlling the crypto market.
We touched on this on a previous show, in that you have your Bitcoin ETFs, and you also have the ability for other derivatives to take place, such as the paper Bitcoin that we talked about. The Coinbase had the kerfuffle where they were allegedly selling the paper Bitcoin. So things like that could temporarily cause price fluctuations or price problems until the network, all you have to do is go to the network to verify. All you have to do is go to an exchange and try and pull your Bitcoin out to expose that kind of stuff. So I think very, very short-term little itty-bitty things could do that. But more importantly, like I had brought up when we talked about it previously, is when you have paper Bitcoin and you have ETFs, that's money that's being spent that is not benefiting the network of Bitcoin. And that's a big problem for both the person who's spending the money and for the Bitcoin itself.
People want the money that's going to Bitcoin. They see that Bitcoin has all this interest and it has all this money in it, and they want a piece of the pie. And that's, an ETF, futures markets, all sorts of things are they just want to build on it. In one sense, that's good, because that's part of an ecosystem that's being built. It's like saying a headlight. It has no real value unless you have a bunch of cars. Yeah, you're right. You can expend all this time and money to make a headlight, but if you have nowhere to put it, then nobody's going to want it. You start making cars that need that headlight, all of a sudden the headlight gets a lot more valuable. So it makes Bitcoin more valuable when everybody builds on it. And what we need to realize is humans like to make money off of other humans, and they're going to do it any way they can. If they can't do it with Bitcoin, they're going to make a product based on it to where they can get that money instead.
See, that's a fundamental thing that most people don't understand. That is a whole show in itself about making money. You're never making money. You're only convincing somebody else to give you their money. It's just a transfer, a constant transfer of value.
Well, okay. It's not that. Okay, so there's trillions of dollars running around the world right now. Those trillions of dollars didn't exist 300 years ago. They were wished into existence, or they represent value. Like, you build a building, took money to make that building, but the building acquired more value the older it got, because it was used a lot for making more money. Now it's worth a lot more than it was when you paid for it.
Why?
Then you sell that building. You have to print more money in order for that value to be reflected with our current system.
Why did that building become more valuable? Do you know why?
Probably because it made people money. It helped convince people that there was more value that could be generated by that building.
Why does your house build equity?
Because people want it.
No.
Yeah.
Your house builds equity. Everything increases in value for the simple reason that they're printing more money and things become more expensive.
No.
That's exactly what happens.
No. Okay, so if you bought your house for $10 and the government printed a lot of money, so now that it was worth $20, it hasn't raised in value. They just made more money. It raises in value when
That's what I just said.
Oh, okay. So, no. The value goes up regardless of what you print. It goes up due to rarity, due to location, due to build style, how it was made. That's what gives a house value. And if all the houses nowadays are made of crap and yours is made of gold, then people will want yours because it's going to last longer and it's going to be neater and people are going to want it more. It's going to raise in perceived value. You could selling it for sheep. You get more sheep for it than you would have 100 years ago or 50 years ago.
Because of inflation. That's what
No.
inflation is.
That would be appreciation of the property, you know.
There's value,
market
and then
demand.
there's inflation. Those are two separate things. Inflation has to do with a specific currency that you're using to put value into. So if you use it, so Bitcoin doesn't inflate, for example. But you could, if you bought your house for 1 Bitcoin, you'd probably be able to sell it for 2, because later, because that house might have become more valuable.
I don't know about that.
What about flippers?
I really don't.
When flippers buy a house, then they improve the house. They're putting more value into it. They give it a garage when it didn't have one before, and they bought it for 1 Bitcoin. They sell it for 2. Now, if Bitcoin were inflated, that makes it more complicated. It's like, okay, well, what used to be 1 Bitcoin is now 5, and so if you get 6 Bitcoin, you've made a profit, even though you bought it for 1. Inflation just makes things harder. Inflation is a tax on people. It's a tax without
because
so
everything costs more.
I want it to be clear that our monetary system is used as a tax, but our monetary system can function as a transfer of value as well. It's just Bitcoin makes it very obvious because it can't be inflated.
Bitcoin can be inflated at times, because right now, see, it's a perception more than anything. Most people don't think ahead, and there's so many. I've seen a lot of arguments on this, and I've seen both sides of this argument make really good points. You can divide Bitcoin into 20 decimal places. So really, if you break it down into Satoshis, there's way more than 21 million. There's 21 million full Bitcoin. But for each Bitcoin, you have all these individual Satoshis, right?
Well, that's
listen,
not the same thing. That just means a Bitcoin is infinitely divisible.
Right. So the point I'm trying to make is, are we valuing the Bitcoin or are we valuing the Satoshi? Because the value could be looked at differently depending on what it is you're trying to put the value on.
Something that we should put in your whole inflation thing is, since the Satoshi is the smallest unit of a Bitcoin, and you could buy 1 Satoshi now for close to nothing, it might be that Bitcoin becomes so valuable that 1 Satoshi is too expensive for anybody to buy. And so what they will do this, is they will tokenize Satoshis. If you have so many of these tokens, then you can buy 1 Satoshi, or you can have 1 Satoshi with that. And these tokens, which won't be on the Bitcoin blockchain, they'll be somewhere else. These will get you a Satoshi. And those tokens will become valuable because they have value. I think in the future, 50 or 100 years from now, it'll get to be a point where people will be proud to have 1 Satoshi. Because there's
well, yeah, the value, right? So you flip in kind of the value. And I put Shanrat's comment up because I'm guessing Shanrat probably read some of the same stuff that I did. And there's arguments on both sides fantastically. Because what if 1 Satoshi then is valued at $90,000 instead of 1 Bitcoin? So the price of a Bitcoin
you'll have to tokenize it to get the value out of it.
Yeah, so the value can be manipulated a little bit depending on what it is that you're looking at. And I found that I went down that rabbit hole, and man, I spent hours down there, and I was flip-flopping constantly depending on what people were arguing. I thought it was fantastic, but that value and the inflation part of that is based on that scarcity. And then the arguments came in. Well, if you have Satoshis, it's not scarce at all. But if you're looking for full Bitcoin, it is. I mean, my head was just exploding when I was going down that rabbit hole, because depending on how people use it, that's going to determine where it goes.
At best, there can only be, at best, there can only be 21 million, some odd number of people that own one Bitcoin. It will be, the reason I started buying Bitcoin in 2018 is because I realized that there's more than 21 million millionaires out there. And each millionaire is going to want to have a Bitcoin. And so it'll be a status symbol to have a Bitcoin. And then I realized that Bitcoin was not just about money, it was about social value. And so that's what gives it appeal as well as functionality. Great. There's a lot of cryptos out there that have functionality. I have a TralFaz coin on the Tron network right now. That functionally works as currency. Why don't people use it? Because there's no social, everybody doesn't want it. There's no social value to it.
Did you see, speaking of social value, did you see the post that went today? A Satoshi era wallet that got their Bitcoin at 6 cents back in 2010, moved 2,000 Bitcoin. And it was ridiculous. It was like $179 million or something. But an actual OG moved 2,000 Bitcoin today.
So here's what I think has happened with a number of those old wallets that are moving things. Bitcoin they had posted like where to find the code for these servers. Then you had to compile the code yourself and run these things. And a lot of people just put it on their laptop. They ran it for a while. And then they stopped because either the laptop got too old or they got disinterested in whatever. And I think what's been happening is over the years, people have been like, where did I put that key? Or how can I reconstitute? Oh, we still have that laptop. Oh, yeah, it's in your uncle's garage or something like that. They eventually either find their private key or they get the laptop itself and they get the stuff together and they're like, oh, okay, let's make a wallet nowadays, because the Bitcoin wallets nowadays are a little bit different than the original ones. They're like, let's move the money over. Let's sell some of this. And so I think that there's a lot of all the OGs. I think a majority of them, they mined it for a while. They stopped, and the Bitcoin just poof, it went away. They'll never be accessible again. So there's not even 21 million that are accessible right now.
Well, there's a lot that's lost. Yeah, there's tons and tons that is completely lost.
And then all the dust.
So there's never.
What does all the dust add up to?
Oh, I got dust all over the place. I mean, I probably have 10 wallets with, 0.0000238 Bitcoin.
Somebody did something
less than a penny.
Somebody did a comparison online, did a graph online as to how much dust is out there, and I think the dust is like 20 Bitcoin or something like that.
Wow.
Oh yeah, it's got to be a lot just in dust too.
So if you really only have 10 or 15 million possible Bitcoin out there, having 1 million, the United States having 1 million Bitcoin, that's 1/15 of the circulation. And I agree with Shanrat when he said, if Satoshi, somebody here said if Satoshi were to start selling or moving some of his Bitcoin, it would affect the price. If Satoshi did, for social value alone, it would affect the price. It would go down, but it'd go back up later as other people acquired it. But it would move. It would do something.
So the funny thing, and I ran into this. I was telling my wife about this the other day. I just did the math while you were talking. When I first heard about Bitcoin, that's the story I've told a couple of times here on FazRadio, where I teased that I thought I was talking to Satoshi. That was in 2012. And the price of Bitcoin in 2012, I just looked it up, averaged $13.25 for a Bitcoin. And at the time, I was looking at where to put my $5,000. So that would have bought me 377 Bitcoin back then. So let's take that number now and multiply
you wouldn't have held
it
on to
by
it.
89,000. Right.
You
No,
wouldn't have
I
held on to
absolutely
it.
wouldn't have. I wouldn't have held on to it this long. I know I wouldn't have.
see, that's the thing is that this. I found out about Bitcoin in 2011, and I knew a guy in 2012 who bought some, and 2012 or 2013 when it was like $50, and he had mentioned he had like 10 or 12, and I was just like, wow, that's a waste of money. And I'm thinking, what does he have now? But when Bitcoin went from, if he bought it for $50, if it went to $500, he probably sold some.
Yeah, I mean if I would have been stupid like I normally am, and I would have locked it on a laptop or something, that 5,000 would have become $33 million today. Just,
and I'm wondering
because that's how stupid I am.
Well, we all would have. I mean, you've had some coins that you've sold at, that you could have sold at a lot higher. I have.
Oh my
certainly.
God, yeah. There's
Coins I've
quite
held
a
way too
few.
long.
Quite a few. And here's the funniest thing. It was last year. It was before Christmas. I finally got fed up and sold my Pepe coin. And it just mooned this week.
Yeah. Robinhood now has Pepe.
I did good with Pepe.
I bet you did. Look at the smile on his face. If we come down in March, you're buying steaks for us all with that look, Zorro. And you're gonna pay in PP coin.
I gotta be honest. I bought a bunch of Pepes at the very, very beginning of the year.
But you still have a job. If you have a job, then you
Wow.
must not have made that much.
I do have.
You
a
don't
job,
know
yes.
that. You don't know that, right? So there's a lot of people. I'm not trying to be like sly on Zorro here, but there's a lot of people who have just
like their job?
buttloads of money who just work anyway. They don't want to draw attention to themselves. They don't mind their job. If Zorro made $1 billion on his Pepe coin and moved into this huge mansion, his life would be miserable. Maybe people who make hundreds of millions of dollars, some of them just like Warren Buffett, drive an old Honda and live in a little shack.
Well, remember something. We live in US. If you make a lot of money out of crypto, anyways, you're going to be paying a lot of taxes out of that as well. So by saying that you're going to make $1 million and then what, you have to pay taxes on that? How much a percentage that we pay on taxes?
50%. If you made $1 million, you'd be paying 50%.
You really don't have $1 million.
Nope, you have 500,000 or $500,000.
And yes, you still need to continue working.
Well, the sad thing is, actually,
he works just to pay his tax bill. That's what it is.
The sad thing about that is you really have to make probably about $5 million at least.
Yeah, people
Take care
have
of
to do a lot of money
to retire.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've noticed that Faz hasn't been working a lot lately. That tells me he's a billionaire.
TMI, dude.
Mr. Mover. He has a fake green screen on.
I think that's a fancy life, right? You can move
that puts
from
him
one
in
place to
a
another.
And you may... I wish we were all rich, man. I really do.
Yeah, I wish
that would be awesome.
Yeah.
I wish my life choices didn't force me to move, and they weren't. I didn't move due to having money. Let's put it that way.
I know that. I'm just picking on you, man. That sucks that happened to your house. I'm just glad it's all taken care of now. Are we out of Mr. Trump talk?
I could certainly talk about a lot more, but we're at an hour, and I get yelled at now by both you guys if we're over an hour, by the editor and by our marketer.
No. I don't edit the lives. I don't care how long we talk on the lives. It's the interviews here's what it boils down to. I got it kind of figured out to a science, because between the interviews we do and editing my wife's cast, I figured it's about an hour of editing for every 10 minutes of video. And then you have to add the creating the shorts time, which is a few hours, and then you have to go through the whole workflow of getting the descriptions and everything else. That's a couple of hours. So think of it this way. For every 10 minutes we talk on an interview, it costs me an hour of work time.
Do you want 5-minute interviews from now on? We do like speed dating.
That's no good. I would like 30 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes is your average interview. And that's like 40 minutes of footage because you edit quite a bit out of it, 10, 15 minutes out of it easy. But that would be ideal. For me, from an editing standpoint, that would be perfect because I can get it done in a week easy. These hour-long ones, though, it takes me over a week to get that done and done right, and creating shorts and curating all that. It is a lot of work.
Oh, let's keep it short.
Keep it short. Yeah, that's what he said.
No comment.
Bye.
I'm short. I'm only 5'6".
Mr. Zorro's leaving now?
Yeah.
Right.
We made a penis joke and he's moving off the
Let's put him
off the screen.
There we go. So we are live on air. You're now in the middle. So do we need to end this now? Is that what you're saying?
Well, we should. No, I can't, Think Tank. I cannot edit less. You have no idea the struggles I have with interviews. We recently, I'm not going to talk too much about it, but we recently did an interview. And I start editing it. And I got 17 minutes in after 3 hours of work with ums and ahs and silence and rearranging things and the whole 9 yards. I'm 17 minutes in after 3 hours of work in. And we talked for over an hour.
That means we have to keep some limit in there in the time.
Yeah, we do.
Pretty much.
And then after I do the first rounds of edits, I have to do the second round of edits to cut out all the stuff that doesn't make sense in there. So I have to go through it a second time. Then I rearrange things. I put the pretty stuff on. I make it zoom in, zoom out. I put the overlays on, the whole 9 yards. It is a very involved process.
You're saying we need a team?
What I'm saying is that I want to thank you guys for being so patient because it takes a while to get these things out and to have them looking good and get the shorts looking good and everything else. Everybody thinks, boy, you record this thing and 3 days later, why the hell isn't it out? It doesn't work like that.
Nope.
And I'm still learning, right? I still am not a pro at this editing thing. I'm getting better with every video I do.
Well, when we get
I'm still not a pro.
We get popular, you'll have a team.
Zorro was just
click like.
Zorro was just saying, he was saying that he personally guarantees that we're going to be famous now that he's on the show. I said,
Note
Mr. Zorro, that's a great guarantee.
Note the sunglasses. It's like the Doge sunglasses there.
So we need Faz. I'm surprised you haven't started on them already. If you remember correctly, I tried forever to get you to go on camera, and you wouldn't go on camera, and you wanted to we tried to make contests out of it. We need to make a contest so that we get the people who listen to do something super cool, and the prize is Zorro has to take his sunglasses off when he's on air. Live!
It's not happening.
One day. It'll happen.
I have never... right, so, and I don't mean this in a derogatory manner, but I have never seen Zorro without his sunglasses. And there's people on these casts, right, on these other podcasts and everything else, for like a year or two, they'll wear their glasses and then they don't. This guy has been going for over 3 years. I met the guy first probably 3 years ago, and I've never seen the guy without sunglasses. And the funniest thing, I laugh out loud all by myself here in the studio, because when you're not wearing your sunglasses, you fucking Photoshop sunglasses on your face. And that makes me laugh harder than anything. I'm like, God, this guy does not give up.
Probably there is a lot of pictures out there with me in different events and friends, and yes, you will see me with the sunglasses as well.
Yeah.
Day or night, it doesn't matter.
And the hat.
Actually happens to me that I went to a event in a nighttime, and but for those events I normally wear the ones that they have the LEDs around and all that.
Mhm.
So when I show up to the places, you will see basically a sunglasses in a really dark place. You will see sunglasses walking because the LED and people
The
go
LEDs are lit up.
and it's and, you know and if I start looking around, people will go like this.
It's called the Clark Kent effect. Basically, the
And
first time you
it's-
see him without sunglasses, you'll be like, "Do you know where Zorro is?"
And
Oh,
some
no, we'll-
some
we'll-
people will go and cross their head like this, like
what's going to happen is we're going to run into this guy somewhere and we're going to be like, God, he looks so familiar. I don't know where I know this guy from. And he'll be
The-
totally incognito because nobody knows.
there was
Well-
in one of the events that I went in 2024, at the beginning of 2024. Actually, at the end of the event, it was a big party, and in a nice, it was, I think it was in a club, in a hotel. And this guy was one of the speakers of the event, and he came to me. He told me he basically begged me like, "Can I wear your glasses, man? It's so freaking cool, and I have been watching you the whole event." I was like, "It's not happening, bro. I'm sorry. I can't do it." Then I remember another person came to me, a lady, and they were taking some pictures, and they asked me if I can remove the LED glasses to give it to them so they can take some cool pictures as well, and blah blah blah. And I say, I remember I say, you know how difficult, to be honest to you, it will be for me to remove these LED sunglasses, and they couldn't believe me. And I showed them a little bit in my back here, my back of my neck, all the wiring and all the stuff, and they were like, "What? You wearing that thing all day long?" Yes.
He likes his sunglasses, boys and girls.
Yeah.
That and it's either a hood or a hat. I can't figure that one out too.
Which one?
You're always wearing a hood or a hat.
It depends on the event. I always wearing two. I think it's different stuff.
Well, if you notice,
And there's one particular sunglasses that, to be honest to you, believe it or not, you cannot even find it on internet, not even in Amazon. You cannot purchase. You can't have them. And those are the original first sunglasses that I wear the first time, and I still have
Whoa.
those. There's no way in the world you're gonna find those sunglasses.
well, you need to tell us what sunglasses you have so we can all wear sunglasses in honor of you.
Cheaper ones, $5.
I actually have glasses. I have glasses that I wear all the time. I just don't wear them here because I'm if I did that, I can't see the screen, so I take them off.
Yeah.
We've gotta get forensic analysis on his mirrors for his glasses so we can see his seed phrase sitting on his desk over there.
Well, I think it's a good hook. The longer he wears his sunglasses, the more people get interested in it. That'll mean more ratings for us. I'm all for it.
Actually, yes. And now I add last time I add to my outfit those shoes that light up also as well.
No way.
Yes, yes. Yes, there's people actually took some pictures of me, and they just come to me and tell me, "Can I just take a picture because your outfit?" I say, "Yes, of course." No. Who the hell are you? I'm Mr. Zorro.
He's probably got roller skates in his shoes too.
Uh-huh.
The
Okay,
little
now
roller
that
skates that pop out.
That
now
would be
we're talking
that would be
about
a cool
some really
idea.
interesting things. Now that we're talking about some really interesting things, I'm going to get going. If you guys want to keep this thing going,
No, I think I'm
No,
good. I
we're
gotta
not going to
do
get this
stuff.
thing going.
No,
He's got to
go.
go polish his sunglasses.
I would have muted that, but I have my right microphone.
You have
All
a
right.
left one?
No.
Sir, do you play poker? I do play poker. Yes, I go to the casino sometimes, once in a while. To be honest, to
You
you,
know,
I
you know why he asked that, right? Because of the mirror effect. He wants to play poker with you with your mirrored sunglasses on.
Probably. No.
Good idea.
Oh, that's why we're not getting views tonight. The Tyson fight. I forgot about that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's going
Who
crazy.
do you think is going to win?
Jake Paul's an idiot. I don't like that.
I think
guy.
Mike Tyson's going to win.
I think Mike Tyson is going to win as well. Yeah.
If
Just
he
because
gets
he looks scary.
inside, he'll win. If he can't get inside, he's going to lose miserably.
Right.
He's too old to stand at arm's length anymore. 58, man. I'm surprised the guy can move as fast as he does.
58, bro. I mean, that guy is still in shape. Like,
yeah,
it's
amazing.
Yep.
And we'll go out with that because today I had I had to get a physical because at work they require you to get a physical every year, you know. And on paper, I look like I'm 22 years old. Had the blood work done, the whole massive workout. I was so incredibly impressed with myself. So unfortunately, the poisoning that people try and throw at me bounces right off. I am as healthy as a horse. Again. You two are stuck with me for at least another year.
So next year, when you kick it, I'm going to say who's just 22 years old.
There you go.
I'll be like, but he assured us he'd be fine. He'd outlive all of us.
I was pretty impressed though. I really was because over the years I've when I hit 40, I was telling this story on a FazRadio. When I hit 40, I was perfect. I had so much hubris, it was disgusting because I've never had a cavity, nothing. I was always great. And I hit 40 and my eyesight went, my blood pressure went up. I ended up losing the kidney, the whole 9 yards. My health went to complete shit. Now I've built that back up over the last 5 years. And, you know, I sit here and I'll drink wine on the show and I vape like a fool, but so far everything's holding up. My body's like, all right, you're not killing me enough to cause problems.
So let me tell you a quick story before we go about Titan when we were both in the military. So every few months, every 6 months, I don't know when, every 6 months, I think you have this PT test, and you have to run the mile in a certain amount of time. I forget what it was, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, something like that. So you had to run the mile, and of course I'm not a good long distance runner, and so I'm huffing and puffing. I don't know if you were faster than me or slower than me, but what I do remember is the moment that we would be done. I'd run the mile and then I'd be like, and he would just light up and immediately. And I'm like,
what the heck?
So I don't even think that he would. I'm surprised. Me 30 years ago is surprised that he's lived this long because every time he'd smoke right before, he'd smoke right afterward.
It was so. Listen, I gave up cigarettes like 10 years ago. And it was so bad. I couldn't even walk up a stairwell anymore. But I was doing 3 packs of Marlboro a day, every day, since I was like 15 years old. And so Faz isn't joking in the least. I mean, if I was able to, I was smoking. And back then you could smoke in places. We were at the Pentagon, and right in the lobby there was a big ashtray, and we'd be on these 12-hour night shifts, and there's a giant coffee pot, and you just suck down the coffee and smoke cigarettes all night. It was like crazy. And we got to a point where I couldn't walk up like a normal set of stairs without losing my wind. And I said, that's what turned me. I said, that's it. I'm done. I can't do this anymore. And since I've turned into vaping, I did that. And 10 years later, I have all my lung capacity back. My lungs are in fantastic shape. The MRIs that I did after the whole COVID
you
thing and all
undid
that
all
stuff,
that damage you did over those years.
I really did. Well,
Did it all.
You know, the DNA, I don't know about the DNA part of it.
No,
Who
I don't
knows
like
what
to
happens
make.
there,
I don't like to make predictions
at least
about that. I
all
don't
that
want. I don't want to
stuff.
say anything that's going to be etched into my tombstone.
Right.
Well, my doctor just told me that I had when I was 22 years old on the inside.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of shocked because I was starting to get nervous, right? Because I'm going on 55 years old here. So, you get to that certain point and you're like, oh, I shouldn't have a pain there, and you think you go in for these physicals and you think like you're just going to get these results and it's going to be terrible. And there is not one metric on 4 comprehensive blood tests that's out of normal. Everything is running perfect. All the other stuff is right in line. I take one very, very small little heart pill thing. And the only reason I take that is because I got this weird flutter. It's not even life-threatening, but it bothers me. And so I take that, but I'm almost 55 and I don't take one pill. None. Zero. My blood pressure is perfectly normal. It was 134/70. So, I mean, I'm for those who are religious, I'm blessed. For those who aren't religious, I'm doing all right, and to me, that's fantastic. You hear me talk my conspiracies and all this other stuff. I'm anti-medical.
Can we etch this on your tombstone? Okay.
Yeah, I'm anti-medical establishment. I don't do any of that stuff, and I research it and I find out what are the signs to look for this and how to improve your health this way. Mike, I've gone back to almost carnivore. I'm about 80 to 90% meat. My cholesterol has never been lower in my entire life than it is right now. It's insane. So, I mean, I want to do it naturally. I don't want pills because one pill leads to 2, and then the side effects from those 2 pills make you take 2 more. I would rather do it on my own, figure out the solution myself. And so far, knock on wood over here, that stuff has been working. It works.
Good.
There's a natural cure for it. What do you guys?